drug trial. It happened to be a vaccine to remove beta amyloid from the brain. I recalled that I had seen coconut oil at a health food store. I had always wondered, why is coconut oil there? There's some misconceptions about it.
Sure.
And so we stopped at the health food store. I thought, what have we got to lose? You know, we're going to try this. In the patent application, the studies that they did showed that about half the people, almost half, 47%, had an improvement in their cognitive scores, their memory scores, over the period of time that they tested. And the other half declined very slightly. So I felt, well, this is something that could improve them and perhaps at least stabilize. And you know, I felt like, okay, we can live with where we're at now. Even if he stays the same, you know, we can live with this. So, you know, what have we got to lose? We're going to try this. So we picked up the coconut oil, and in the studies they had given the dose at breakfast. So I thought, okay, tomorrow morning, you know, we'll give it to him. And he was scheduled the next day for another screening at in Tampa.
Right.
And this was at 1 in the afternoon that he was scheduled. So I went ahead and put just over 2 tablespoons in his oatmeal. We had a little, coconut oil tends to be semi-solid at room temperature. So I thought, well, we'll put it in a little hot cereal, and that will melt down. He'll have something to eat it with instead of just taking it right off the spoon. And I took an equivalent amount myself. I thought, I'm not going to make him take anything I won't take.
Good idea.
So he you know, had breakfast, and then several hours later we were heading down to Tampa, and I tried to help him, you know, remember things like, what is the season? It was spring. He couldn't even remember the word spring. We must have talked about it 10 times. He could not come up with the word over and over. And the month, you know, the date, things like that, he couldn't remember. The last time we had been there, he could not remember the town, the county, you know, but even though we'd been there many, many times.
Right, but you later found that it takes approximately 3 hours for the coconut oil to have an effect.
Right, right. So that explains why, you know, a couple hours later we weren't seeing anything. But what happened when he got there for the test, they took him away to do the MMSE. And when he came back, he was actually kind of disappointed. He said, I don't think I did very well. And, but the research assistant came in, and she started taking his blood pressure, and she talked about drawing blood. And I said, well, what's going on here? How did he do? And she says, oh, didn't he tell you? He got an 18.
So he went from 14 to
18 the very next day.
In one day?
In one day.
With 2 tablespoons of coconut oil?
Right. And
that's astonishing.
And it kicked in. His memory kicked in. He remembered.
His memory kicked in?
Kicked in at that point for the test.
Right, right.
He remembered it was spring. He knew he was in Tampa, in Hillsborough County. He knew he was at they named the building he was in. He knew what floor he was on, you know, things that he could not recall at all, you know, for the previous test.
Absolutely marvelous.
So he